Hello everybody, welcome to Percussion Axiom TV. I'm your host Tom Burritt, and this is episode 58. We have Ustream Live going on as well, so welcome to those in the Ustream feed. Just wanted to do a quick show today. I've been away for a little bit, enjoying some great time with my family, and that's really, really important, especially this time of year. So I wish you guys all the best in the new year, and I hope you had great holidays. A couple things happened right before the new year that I wanted to just chat just briefly a little bit about. If you've been following our show, especially since the beginning, you know one thing that we're trying to do here is showcase the percussive arts, sort of monitor and promote things that happen in the news, especially in the mainstream news that are important. And on the 27th, in 2009, just last week, Alan Kazan, who writes for the New York Times, wrote a great piece about how percussion seems to be asserting itself and percussionists in general. And so, with how crazy word of mouth is these days on the internet especially, and all these tools that allow us to communicate to such a fantastic level, I'm trying to get information out there as much as possible. I did tweet about this last week, and it was retweeted, and I know a lot of people are talking about it. So the more we do that, the better, because I think it's really important to get, especially when mainstream news media gets a hold of something that we do, when we're fighting so hard to promote it, we need to just spread it out as much as possible. So part of the episode today is just this idea that, this great thing happened in the New York Times, and just getting it out there, get the word out there, get videos out there, retweeting things, spreading word as much as possible. So anyway, today's axiom, asserting ourselves, is something that we've been talking a lot about on the show, on and off. We did the New York Times article about the marimba early on. I think it was episode 3. Episode 16, we're talking about how important it is that we spread the word. We had Bang in a Can special on NewsHour. So it just seems like the mainstream media is really taking interest in what we're doing. And so I want to thank Alan Kazan over at the Times for writing this piece. So we have more people joining us on Ustream. Ustream. Nice to see you guys. So I'm going to ask everyone who watches this and has a Twitter account, and if you don't have a Twitter account, there's lots of stuff going on in that space that's pretty fun. Actually, that's how I found this article. It's @Kazan is the Twitter handle, @KOZINN. I want everybody in the next 24 hours, or as soon as you see this, to send him a direct message, or, well, maybe you can't do that, but because he's not following you. But anyway, send him something on Twitter. If you can find him on the Times, thank him for this great piece that he wrote. I'll leave the link in the show notes, so if you're interested in checking that out, I invite you to do that. Spread the word. Tell as many people as you can about it. It's a really great piece. One of the things he talks about in this article is how we're beginning to assert ourselves as percussionists. And I'm going to read just the very first paragraph to you. And he says, I have been thinking a lot lately about percussion and percussionists. It is not so much because I'm fascinated with the kaleidoscope array of noises and textures they create, though I am. I've been pondering the way percussion has gradually grabbed the spotlight over the last century, and how percussionists have been asserting themselves in the broader musical scene. And he continues and say, as composers and conductors. And he kind of takes that into an interesting direction. We're not going to talk about that part of this, but one thing that I think is really key here is that many of us are out there trying to assert ourselves in the quote broader musical scene, and I think that's so important. Especially those of us who are active in PAS. The PAS world is obviously critical and very, very important. But when we get ourselves out of that, right, out of that arena a little bit, we almost expose ourselves to a larger group of people, more likely to end up in mainstream media, for example. And that's exactly what happened here. So what Soul Percussion's doing, what Emma Glennie's doing, Nexus, all these groups, and there's many, many others, of course, is really doing some work in meaningful circles where large stream media can actually bring attention to it, and that's awesome. Excuse me, I'm battling a cold here. Then the other thing is he talks a little bit about chamber music and the preponderance of new music ensembles, and he talks a lot about how most new music ensembles have a percussionist as part of the group, and how interesting that is that it really hasn't happened before in music history. So we also talked about that. I don't remember the episode number, but we talk about that as well, because I've done a lot of that around Texas especially. So, you know, I think we're really witnessing so many that came before us that pushed percussion as performers have laid groundwork for us, and now we have all this great technology and all this incredible opportunity through this internet and the technology on the internet to really spread this. And you know, it's about mind share. You know, getting people used to the idea that, you know, we're just as important, or maybe even more important in some instances, or becoming, not necessarily more important, but becoming very important in the contemporary music scene. So I want to talk a little bit about that. A couple other things. I've been tweeting out about this too and talking about this. I'm super pumped about the Grammy Awards, this project that we did cover in previous shows as well. This is a sort of a similar topic, but the work that I did and a series of my students did with the Conspirare Choir ended up being nominated for a Grammy. And so any of you out there that has membership in NARES, please consider voting for us. We're up against some crazy competition. It's category 107. We could use all the help we could get. And I think that's, again, another example of how applying what we do in a collaborative situation with, of all groups, a choir, is a great opportunity for us to really pave some new ground and get into some areas that, you don't know what's going to happen. And so we did this. It was very much a huge experiment, and now it's up for a Grammy Award. So I don't know that we'll win. We're up against some ridiculous competition, but it's great to be in that space and in that place. So, but I am trying to drum up some votes because I know we got a tough road to win this thing. So anyway, that's a quick note about that. I would love you to check out Category 107 if you're a voting member of NARES, and give us your support on that. Today, of course, is January 7th, and it's the BCS National Championship game, so I'm really pumped about that. I've been watching coverage. Still haven't started up with our semester yet, so really pumped about the game tonight. So, and just really, really excited about where things are going this year. And so we'll do more about that. And a lot of great comments, by the way, in past episodes about the PAS site. We did last episode, and then the episodes before that about articulation. We're going to get back into some of those things, especially the episode on articulation. So thank you so much to all of you guys leaving comments. I've realized how much the show's growing, not so much in numbers, although that is happening, but how much you guys are contributing in discussions, and that's so great, and that's really one of the best parts about this. Alright, so, Happy New Year and all those things. Send @Kazan a note on Twitter, or find a way to get a hold of him and thank him for his write-up in the New York Times. Let's see. I think that's all we had for today, so thank you so much, you guys. Apologize for the long time away, but it is important to spend time with family and connect, especially this time of year. So, looking forward to where the show's going. Question of the episode today is really more about just looking ahead in general. What are you guys really excited about? What's a goal you have? This spring as we get into the new year, and how are you going to accomplish it? That's it. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Spread the word about the show. That's really the best. It's really the only thing I ask of you guys. And please leave comments and check out the articles. I'll try to leave as many links below the show as possible. And hook 'em horns.